Hi, I'm Rick Bushman. I'm a microbiologist at the University of Pennsylvania. I'm reaching out to let you know about the upcoming Keystone meeting on viral populations titled the Global Virome in Health and Disease. This is the first meeting specifically dedicated to studies of viral populations, which is an exceptionally cool subject.
What is the Global Virome and why is it important and why is it exceptionally cool?
In rich seawater, just to take one example, there's something like 10 to the 7th, 10 million virus particles per mil in rich seawaters. This is outnumbering the numbers of bacteria that are there by a factor of 10. If you sequence a population of these viruses, a fraction from seawater, for example, where you've purified virus-like particles, aligned to databases, most of them don't look like anything in the databases. There's just so much novelty in trying to understand the global virome. There's thought to
Interesting.
be something like multiplying out by the volume of the oceans. There's something like 10 to the 31 virus-like particles on Earth, which is far more than the number of stars in the universe. And
Wow.
numerically, they're the most successful biological entities by far. And so really fascinating topic.
Yeah, very fascinating. Great. Well, so we've all heard of viruses like the flu, HIV, a lot of viruses that affect humans. What other viruses are there that affect us?
So the human virome is similarly vast. On the left-hand side of the slide, you can see persistent latent infections. Most of us have heard of infections with herpes viruses that tend to stay with us for life and infect the majority of people. There are other viruses like that too. Some benign ones you wouldn't even know were there if not for the sequence-based methods, like viruses, commensal viruses. Unfortunately, there's latent infections, long-lasting infections with HIV, HCV, and others that impair people's health and are also quite well known. Also familiar with transient infections like the cold virus that's infecting me right now. Other times we infect ourselves deliberately with viruses, as in attenuated virus vaccines. Vaccinia, the smallpox virus vaccine antigen, is a virus that I was deliberately infected with as a kid. But that's really the tip of the iceberg. The human genome itself is something like 8% composed of recognizable viral fragments. These are primarily retroviruses, viruses that infected the primate lineage, germline on the lineage leading to humans, and today are recognizable as sequences in the human genome itself. Some are benign passengers, some contribute transcription stop and start signals to human genes, and in a few cases, the protein coding regions in these viruses have been recruited to make new human genes that
Oh,
are now
wow.
human health.
Interesting.
So we are like 8% recognizably viral sequences in our germline. But still, that's just the tip of the iceberg. In our guts, if you take human poop, purify virus-like particles, you get something like, the estimates vary widely, but maybe 1 billion per gram of human poop. These are probably mostly viruses that infect cells of the gut bacteria and replicate there. But also other kinds of viruses that infect human cells and affect our health in diverse ways. Most of the reads don't look like anything you've ever seen before. Mostly they look like they're completely new. Most are probably unstudied bacterial viruses, but again, who knows what else is in there. We recently found a new family of human viruses in some human respiratory samples, for
Wow.
example.
Do we have
That,
any idea what impact these viruses have on us?
Generally, no. Once in a great while, you see a recognizable virus where you know a lot about it from medical research. The viruses that grow on bacteria are probably influencing population structure and influencing what bacteria grow and how they replicate and how they affect our health. The new lineage we just found, redondo viruses, a new family of human viruses, are associated with disease states, but we don't know what's cause and what's effect. Did they cause the disease, or are they growing because somebody already has the disease?
Which diseases are they associated with?
We found they were high in periodontitis, gum
Hmm.
disease, and went down with successful treatment.
Hmm.
Also elevated in samples from many patients in the medical intensive care unit, actually. And whether that's important for their health or not, or whether it's an indicator of impaired health, is something we're still wrestling with, trying
Hmm.
to figure out.
Interesting. Can you tell us a little bit more about the virome you were talking about with the lung transplantations?
Well, we've studied the virome in several immunocompromised states, also inflammatory bowel disease in gut samples.
Hmm.
In respiratory samples, people who need to undergo lung transplantation, unfortunately, are heavily immune suppressed. And we
Mm-hmm.
can see outgrowth of viral populations that aren't normally there in healthy people. Some are viruses that grow on human cells. Some are viruses that grow on bacteria that are inhabiting the lungs of these poor people.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe it'll be useful. It's been suggested that some of these viruses might be biomarkers. It's important for transplant surgeons, people caring for these people, to suppress their immune system to the right degree.
Hmm.
Maybe if you're measuring viruses coming up, maybe that's telling you, maybe that's a thermometer for how much you suppress the immune system. So maybe that would be a valuable
Great.
biomarker. A
Yeah.
number of groups are interested in that kind of question.
Yeah. Are there any other therapeutic implications for this work?
Well, certainly finding new human viruses, new interactions among viruses. We'll hear some reports at the meeting of interactions between viruses and bacteria that are important for health outcomes.
Interesting.
So yeah, understanding the whole populations tells you a lot of different things. For example, bacteriophages, bacterial viruses, move sequences between bacteria. So everything about gene flow in bacteria, which clearly is important clinically for things like antibiotic
Hmm.
resistance, transmission of pathogenicity islands, stuff like that, is in part mediated by bacteriophage. And so that too is another angle on the field, and that will be discussed at some length in the meeting.
Are there any other therapeutic directions or opportunities that will be discussed at the meeting?
Well, there's a great deal of discussion, as many will have heard, on phage therapy. If antibiotics aren't working well anymore, can you repurpose phage to go in and kill bacteria selectively? Very attractive idea, hard in practice, but we're starting to hear about some successful efforts there.
There's a session on beneficial and commensal aspects of the virome. Do you have any insight into how can these viruses be helpful for us?
Well, immune instruction. A unoccupied immune system is the devil's playground. It can lead to things like autoimmunity. It's thought, that hygiene hypothesis, as it's called, for asthma and others. So maybe we need a robust colonization with a bunch of commensals to keep our immune system doing what it ought to be doing.
Are there any particular sessions or directions that you're most excited to hear about, or new directions of the field that you're excited to discuss with colleagues at the meeting?
Well, the meeting features studies of diverse virome communities, some model organisms, some seawater, some humans. So many types of samples and types of questions. And I'm really looking forward to seeing it all held up side by side, because very often there are new ideas that come at the junction of previously separate areas. So this will be should be great fun. I'm looking forward to hearing about results in lots of areas I'm unfamiliar with and expect to learn a lot. So we're hoping the meeting will be of interest to scientists working in a broad range of fields, including ecology, virology, medicine, and the planetary microbiome. And we encourage researchers at all levels to come join us.